Hey, let me run this rumination by you before I gotta come up off of my break. I've noticed uh, some of the things that have been going on in Western civilization, but specifically also in America, as to why we don't vote for a female president. It's probably going to take a longer time than we think. And I think I've mentioned this on a bucket, maybe a past rumination on this, but join me on this journey. The A lot of us have been raised in a lot of us that are living have been raised in second wave through fourth wave feminism, to the point to where, you know, when we do become adults, we don't want a motherly figure to run the country. We've been in a 20-year-ish regime under our own mothers. And now that you're an adult, why the hell would you want to vote for another one like that? See? And this is also the same. This is not just true with the male populations of all Western civilized and developed nations. This is also true of other females as well. Now, you do see that sisterhood of the traveling pants and shit like that, the in group biases that they do have when interacting out here in society. But, you know, when it comes to voting, this is when they're really honest with you. Now, a lot of females have been in, and I'm just going to come out and say it. I can't really speak for all the other countries, but I think this is true as well. Is that, these little girls, you know what I mean? A lot of them in single mother households are, you know, some of them are spoiled, but some of them are not. And then they get indoctrinated by how feminism, had brought them brought them equal rights throughout life. But we couldn't be any more further than the truth. You know, these American girls are in these households, these single mother households, and they spend like a 20-ish-year-old regime under their own feminist mothers. And, more often than not, sometimes their feminist mothers do, nourish them, support them, and do right, really. But the the underlying thing, the dark undercurrent of all of this is the simple fact that they're spoiled from that. And the other reason why we do see a lot of LGBT people is due to, well, today it's a lot different than it was, I'd say, 20 years ago. We usually have gay men and lesbian females due to them being in abusive households, all stemming with the mother and or the father being poor stewards of them. They couldn't supervise their children to save their lives, and so they tend to get into government passing down these decrees, whether they are in the deep state or the shallow state, the surface state as we all see it in government. And they neglect what's under their roofs. So they tend to think that they give more of a damn about everybody else's kids, but in actuality, they they don't give a shit about their own children. And then these children are poorly supervised by people like this. You know, they're around very sketchy chomo-ish figures, and from these sketchy chomo-ish figures, they've came from, you know, broken homes and shit like this. And after all those years of abuse, they finally become the abuser. But back to the children that these people that do end up in government don't do. And you see this shit with, you see this problem happening with our last president, Poopy Pants, you know. You also see this stuff today, even with the Trump children as well. Even though it is arguable that, you know, they had a better childhood than um, I'd say Hunter Biden might have. But in a lot of the LGBT communities, before I even fall off subject from that, is that they are usually, you know, abused sexually and physically, and yes, even verbally, really. And then they end up in high school, maybe college, and then they're easily flipped onto, you know, the same sex. I mean, a lot of that happens from this. I mean, I've often thought here that transgender isn't nothing but a lesbian or a gay person going further and further to the left. It's no different. I mean, I've often seen some couples that are straight but with a lot of extra steps. Like, for instance, there is a dominant female and a submissive male. Now, they're together, but, you know, the usual, they're not your usual straight couple. You know, bro, yeah, I was just throwing this around in my mind. This is kind of like one of those stream of consciousness type of fucking ruminations, man. But you guys notice this at where you work. You notice this just passing by. I often, me being a black man, I often hated, you know, the 50s and what they taught us, you know. But the black family back then was a hell of a lot better than it is now. You know, we might need that back, but a lot of this has got to get way worse before it does get better. You may not think so, but no, man, it's true. Well, let me get on up out of here. Thank you for listening, and see you in the bucket.